Hello everybody, welcome back. Today is a very impromptu video. We received a ham as a Christmas gift and my husband was requesting ham and beans. Now, a little backstory on me. I never liked ham and beans. I grew up on it. I tried multiple different people's recipes. I have never been a fan of ham and beans. Not long after I received the Instant Pot for a Christmas birthday gift, I decided to go ahead and just try to make ham and beans in the Instant Pot, and I'm here to tell you this is the only way I will eat ham and beans. I don't know what this thing does, but it locks in flavor, and I do prefer a lot of my soups, especially ham and bean soup, to come from the Instant Pot. I'm here today to bring you along as I make this for supper. While this is cooking, I will get things ready for a cornbread. What goes better with ham and beans than southern cornbread? I'll bring you along on that journey as well while this is cooking. This does take 90 minutes of high pressure to cook. That does not include the 10-15 minutes it's going to take to come up to pressure and the 15 minutes of natural pressure release that we will need to do after the 90 minutes. We're typically used to starting or eating supper around 5:30. It's about 3:30, 3:45 right now, so I need to get this started so that it is prepared in time for supper. The one thing about this recipe, it is super simple. It's kind of just a dump and go recipe. So I'll go over what I have in front of me real quick. We'll put it all in, get this thing started, and move on to the cornbread. What you see in front here, I've got 16 ounces of navy beans. These have been washed, rinsed well. So I'm just gonna put that in the Instant Pot. I've got, I'll be honest, not sure how many ounces. Recipe calls for about 12 ounces. I am kind of in a rush here. I'm just going to assume that this is at least 12 ounces, probably more, my luck, but the more the merrier. The ham that we received did not have a bone. If it did have a bone, you want to make sure and put it in because the bone has extra flavor and nutrients in it, but this was a bone-free ham. We're gonna do it this time without any sort of bone. I've got 8 cups of water. We're gonna put that right in on the Instant Pot, and I'm going to give you a little side note here. There is a max line right here on the Instant Pot. Anytime you're doing liquids, soup especially, you never wanna go over that max line. That is there for a reason. We are below it, we're good to go. So we've got the ham, the beans, the water. I'm gonna wing this here. We're gonna put some pepper in it. Salt and pepper is kind of however you prefer. It never fails. I typically err on the not as seasoned side, so then as we're eating it, if we think it needs more, we can just add it ourselves in our bowl rather than having it too seasoned, because everybody's taste buds are different. So I'm using some pepper, some pink Himalayan salt, and I've got a little bit of onion powder. Just going to sprinkle a little bit of that in here. As I said, may need more seasoning. We can put that in there later on after it's done cooking and after I taste it. Put the lid on here. Make sure that this is at a turn to sealing. We want to pressure cook and for 90 minutes. So we're gonna turn this all the way up to the 90. My hope is through all of these Instant Pot videos that if you have one, you become comfortable with it. And if you don't have one, maybe watching these videos will inspire you to get one, because this is one of my favorite appliances to use in the kitchen is the Instant Pot. I use this once, twice, sometimes 3 times a week. The best thing ever, I feel like, in the kitchen. I feel like this one is easier to use sometimes than an actual pressure canner because everything's on the front, a lot more instructions than the typical pressure canner. I just set the time and go. I don't have to worry about watching the pressure gauge and making sure I keep it in the right spot. I set the time, what I want it to do, I can let it go. So we've got this going for 90 minutes. I will bring you back after the 90 minutes and after we've done the 15-minute natural pressure release. So the 90 minutes, it's gonna cook, it's gonna beep saying it's done. I'm not gonna touch it until it counts down 15 minutes. Then I will come back, finish the venting if there's anything else left in it, turn the top off, and we'll see what it looks like after that. While the ham and beans is cooking in the Instant Pot, I'm going to show you an easy Southern cornbread that is a nice side for the ham and beans, the soup. We will start by putting a couple tablespoons of olive oil into your pan. Now, if you are using just an 8x8 or 9x9 pan, you will just spray that down with cooking spray. I personally feel like cast iron makes the best cornbread, so I'm just going to show you exactly how I make it. I am using just a shallow little 8-inch cast iron pan. Got a couple tablespoons of oil in here. I'm going to put this in the oven while the oven is preheating to 400 degrees. The reason I do that is for the oil to get nice and hot so that when we pour our cornbread mixture into the cast iron pan, it already starts forming a crispy outside. You don't have to do this. Like I said, this is just how I have found that I like to make my cornbread. Moving on to the cornbread ingredients. We have in front of us here 1 cup of flour. I just use all-purpose flour. 1 cup of cornmeal. We're going to need 1 teaspoon of salt. I've got pink Himalayan salt here. We need 1 tablespoon of baking powder. I've got 1/3 of a cup of oil. I like to use olive oil. In the pan, I have a mixture of olive oil and avocado oil because it handles the heat. 1/4 cup of honey. You can use honey or sugar. I have always used the honey. I find it adds a nice sweet touch to the cornbread. We get our honey locally at the farmer's market. We will add 1 cup of milk. Lastly, 1 egg. That's my egg here. I like to crack it in something else just to make sure if a part of a shell or something drops in it, I can dig it out of here easier than I can the big bowl of ingredients. I'm going to whisk this up till we get a smooth mixture. As soon as the cast iron pan is hot and the oven is preheated, we will pour this into our pan, and that will cook at 400 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes. I will let this sit here and rest a bit while the oven continues to warm up. The oven is fully preheated to 400 degrees. I just pulled the pan out of the oven. Make sure you use pot holders. Cast iron gets very, very hot. Now we're going to take our cornbread mixture. It's been sitting here. I can see that it has risen a bit with the baking powder in it. We're just going to pour it straight into the cast iron. The oil that was in the pan will come up on the sides. It is okay. That only means it's going to be very, very crispy on the outside. So I'm gonna put this back into the oven for 20 to 25 minutes. I'll bring you back when we get this done, and then we will just be waiting on the ham and beans in the Instant Pot. Here is the cornbread. I just pulled it out of the oven and sliced it into 8 pieces. The key to getting a crispy edge on cornbread, put the oil in first, let it preheat, take the pan out, then put your cornbread mixture in. So the Instant Pot has completely finished the 90 minutes of pressure. It has naturally pressure released for 15 minutes. We're fixing to take off the lid and see what we have. And here you have it. Instant Pot ham and beans and cast iron Southern cornbread. If you like these Instant Pot recipes, if you find inspiration, if it reassures you of what could be scary pot, make sure to like it, subscribe, and keep following, as I will have more of these recipes and quick dinners to come. Now, just to recap, it takes 90 minutes of pressure for the ham and beans in the Instant Pot. You need to figure in about 10-15 minutes for the Instant Pot to come up to pressure and a 15-minute natural pressure release. So if you are to make this recipe, I would start it 2 hours before you want to eat. So if you want to eat supper at 5:30, I would start this no later than 3:30 to give you plenty of time, and it gives you a little bit of leeway in case it does run past the 5:30 mark. Until next time, we will see you later. Bye.